How's it going, everybody? I'm the best is, the best it was, the best there ever will be. There'll be none before me, and there'll be none after me. Therefore, I am the one and only Jay Kobe, and welcome to Wrestling Made Simple. We got an action-packed week this week with your news of the week, followed by my SmackDown and Raw reviews, and then we go into the Elimination Chamber 2019 review. My predictions for Elimination Chamber 2024. We then have your drink of the week, followed by a reading for the Book of Rules, and then the Bell Droid of the week. Let's get into news this week, though, as first off, Mandy Rose has turned her career outside of the ring into something very lucrative. She opened a Fan Times account, which is kind of like an OnlyFans, and is selling pictures on there. And if she wants to do that, more power to her. If she feels that she can make money that way, hey, shout out to you, go do it. She has revealed the most anyone's ever spent on her in Fan Times, which apparently was $55,000. Now, one, if you want those pictures, go right ahead, spend all the money you want. This is America. You got the right to do whatever the fuck you want, but there is free stuff on the internet, just letting you know that. I mean, come on. $55,000? You got that much money to blow? Oh my God. And Drew McIntyre has revealed what he feels is the worst bump he has ever taken, which apparently was off of Hell in a Cell against Randy Orton in 2020. Apparently, he said he hurt himself on the table, actually bit through his tongue, so it kind of looked like a snake for a little while before it healed. Oh, that's a hard bump to take, you know. I'm sure Shane McMahon is right there with him. Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler are right there with him because, funny enough, they also took kind of the same bump off of that Hell in a Cell. And who else was involved in that match? Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Dean Ambrose, and Drew McIntyre. So it's funny to look back on that one. And Steve Maclin is apparently leaving TNA. Apparently his contract has come up, and he has not signed any new deals with TNA. So I don't know if he's leaving the company or not. He is a former world champion. I do feel like maybe his days in the ring are coming to an end, so maybe he will go into a backstage producer point. Maybe he'll do something else. Who knows? It'd be cool to see him in WWE, but I have a feeling that if we do, it will be more in a backstage position like Abyss. But that does it for news this week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go into SmackDown. SmackDown kicked off with Kevin Owens versus Dominic Mysterio in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Kevin Owens would pick up the win after R-Truth would get involved, thinking Kevin Owens is The Miz. Oh, R-Truth, you are a comedy gold, and I love you. You are a national treasure. Kevin Owens would pick up the win with a pop-up powerbomb. Great move by Kevin Owens. He kind of has been moving away from the stunner, which is weird to see. He, I guess, since losing to Stone Cold at WrestleMania 38, the stunner has taken more of a backseat to his move, the pop-up powerbomb. We then get Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne announcing their new tag team name of the New Catch Republic, and they will face Dominic Mysterio and R-Truth next week on SmackDown. We then get a Women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match of Tiffany Stratus versus Zelina Vega. Tiffany Stratton, I'm sorry, not Tiffany Stratus. It was a hard-fought match, and actually a very good match to really kind of kick off the career of Tiffany Stratton on the main roster. Enjoyed this. Awesome to see her get a good win over Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega is someone who I do see being propelled into the main event very soon. So good win for Tiffany Stratton to start off her SmackDown career. We then get the Authors of Pain versus some local talent in a squash match. Nice little match. Authors of Pain showing off that they haven't lost any ring, that they have no ring rust, and that they could still go everywhere in the ring. We We then get The Miz versus Logan Paul in the final men's Elimination Chamber qualifying spot. Very nice to see this. Really enjoyed this match. The Miz and Logan Paul reuniting their feud from SummerSlam a couple years back. Good match. Weird to see them in the reverse roles, as I never thought The Miz would be a face. I thought this would be a heel versus heel match if it ever happened again. Still a fun match and enjoyed it. The Logan Paul would pick up the win and is your last man in the men's Elimination Chamber match. So it's Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens. Let me get the rest of the card here. Hang on. Elimination Chamber 2024, Perth, Australia. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, L.A. Knight, yeah. Kevin Owens and Logan Paul. And whoever wins will get the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth friggin' Rollins, at WrestleMania 40. We then get Naomi and Alba Fire in a women's qualifying match for Elimination Chamber. Naomi would pick up the win in her first match back in WWE. Cool to see Naomi pick up that win. Looks great for her. Awesome to see her back in WWE. We then get the main event. Universal Champion Roman Reigns came out and said The Rock wants to be honest with everybody. The people of Utah are idiots. And he says people are going to go crazy when his cousin comes out. Roman then said this is the biggest night in WWE and the fans are cheering for Cody. The Rock then came out to a huge pop and basically looked like his heel persona in the Attitude Era of the old $500,000 shirt. He then says the fans mocked him, the We Want Cody chants, and how they ruined the biggest match ever, and that the fans are spoiled little bitches. And he then said, if you smell, and then stopped and said, sing along time with The Rock is over, shut up and listen. If you smell what the bloodline is cooking. Ooh, a little bit of chills there. Thought that was very fun, very cool to see The Rock as a heel again, which is something he really hasn't done. He was kind of a heel going into WrestleMania 29, but not so much. So it's cool to see him as a heel once again tonight. I'm excited to see what heel Rock and heel Roman will do with the bloodline. We then move on to Raws. Raw kicked off with Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre would pick up the win with a Claymore after the bloodline would get involved. You would have Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa come out. Solo would hit Cody with the Samoan Spike behind the referee's back. And Drew would pick up the win. This is the first pinfall loss for Cody since WrestleMania 39. So that's really a little cool segment. We then get your women's battle royal for the Elimination Chamber last spot. You would have people like Zoe Starks, Zelina Vega, Shayna Baszler. You would have Alba Fire. You would have Dakota Kai, Natalya, and a returning Raquel Rodriguez, who would win the whole thing, last eliminating Zoe Starks. Even though Shayna tried to save her partner so many times, she could only do so much. So it was cool to see Shayna Baszler actually try to help Zoe Starks. I imagine they will be the team to challenge for the Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania, in my opinion. I think that would be the right move to go with. We then get the Judgment Day. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough versus The Miz, R-Truth, and DIY. Of course, Truth still thinks it's D-Generation X. Judgment Day would pick up the win with a South of Heaven to R-Truth, and you would actually have JD McDonough holding, it was Tommaso Ciampa's legs to stop him from breaking up the pin. So I thought that was a very cool little move there on the outside. We're starting to get the UFC crossovers with WWE, as UFC star Michael Chandler, I believe he's the light heavyweight champion of the world, calls out an Irish bastard, Conor McGregor. I lost my shit when he did this. I thought it was awesome. Thought it was very cool. And you would actually have Michael Cole and Pat McAfee sitting there going, I didn't know he was going to do that. Holy shit. I thought that was fun. It was awesome to see. Very cool for them to have him call out Conor McGregor. Didn't expect it. Very cool. You would then get all the women in the Elimination Chamber match. Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, and Bianca Belair arguing who's going to win. A brawl would break out, and then Nia Jax joined the brawl and took them all out. I didn't like this for one reason. I felt it really took away from the build to the Elimination Chamber match, because if Rhea Ripley wins, then who the hell is going to beat Rhea Ripley? Because Nia Jax just took out everyone in the match. So we then get Ivar versus Chad Gable in an actually very good match. I thought this was going to be a squash match, but apparently they're building Chad Gable for something big, as he would hit a German suplex, a back-to-back suplex on, belly-to-back suplex on Ivar, and would then make him tap out to the ankle lock. I've always said this, and anyone who has watched me watch wrestling, I think the ankle lock is my favorite submission besides the Hell's Gate for one reason. You can control what the other person's doing. You can pull them away from the bottom rope. That's what I love about the ankle lock. You control, it actually looks like a submission where the person submitting someone has full control over the person they're fighting. We then get Sami Zayn talk about his path to WrestleMania. Shinsuke Nakamura says he's not done with Sami, and they will have another match on Raw next week. We then get the New Day challenging Imperium to a street fight next week on Raw. And then we would get your main event of Jey Uso versus Gunther for the IC title. Gunther would retain after Jimmy Uso would get involved, hitting the bell, trying to cause a distraction. It was very funny to see that. I thought that was a very good way, but he hit it too many times that it just became annoying. After this, Jay would go for the splash on Gunther. Gunther would get his legs up and would retain the title. Apparently, there was talk that Jay was going to win this match, and it was going to lead to an IC title match at WrestleMania between the Usos. But it looks like it's just going to be Uso versus Uso at WrestleMania, which I'm completely fine with. I didn't want Gunther to lose it there. I think Gunther losing at WrestleMania is the way better call. After the match, Jimmy would attack Jay and says, I'm always the big brother. He would hit Jay with two Uso splashes to end the night. I thought that was a fun little match. I'm excited for what WrestleMania is building to. This is going to be a really fun WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen. And it has to be. It's WrestleMania 40. 4 decades, you got to do something big. And really the first one for Triple H in full creative control. Let's move on to my review of Elimination Chamber 2019. Coming from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. It kicked off with Buddy Murphy versus Akira Tozawa on the pre-show in a singles match for the Cruiserweight Championship. I really do miss the Cruiserweight title, man. Gave more guys a shot at being on TV. Buddy Murphy was always turning out great matches. Neville, you had a lot of people turning... Tony Nese. Who else was there? Drew Gulak always turned out good matches. TJP... even when he was just barely in the company, Austin Aries, I've always thought these were some great matches, and I really felt like they should be more focused on the cruiserweights. And since that title run away, I really, really do miss it. Buddy Murphy would pick up the win and would retain to go on to face Tony Nese at WrestleMania 35 in basically Tony Nese's hometown of New York. Thought that was a cool one. We then go to the main show, as it would be the Elimination Chamber for the inaugural Women's Tag Team Championships. Got off to such a hot start, and now look at where we are. My God. You would have Carmella and Naomi, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, Nia Jax and Tamina, the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, the Riot Squad, and the Boston Hug Connection. The Boston Hug Connection would pick up the win. Carmella and Naomi would be the first team eliminated by the Iconics. Then you would have the Iconics and the Riot Squad eliminated by Nia Jax and Naomi, or Nia Jax and Tamina. You would then have the Boston Hug Connection eliminate Nia Jax and Tamina, and then would eliminate Fire and Desire, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, to pick up the win. The Boston Hug Connection are your first ever women's tag team champions. This is a hard-fought match, and the women really came out to show, hey, we could be the main event. And they really needed to, because if they didn't show up, then the whole main event for WrestleMania is like, why have women main eventing if you can't even put on a good Elimination Chamber match? I want to say the Elimination Chamber is my favorite match type of the year. It's anytime it comes on, or I'm just sitting at home, I'm like, you know what, I want to watch a good Elimination Chamber match. It's one of my favorite to play in WWE 2K. I love the Elimination Chamber. You then get a tag team championship match of the Usos versus The Miz and Shane McMahon. The Usos would pick up the win, defeating The Miz and Shane McMahon and ending their tag team title run that would start at the Royal Rumble. It was a fun little thing to see The Miz pick up the... He was riding high with Shane McMahon as the best tag team in the world, since that's what they were calling themselves after The Miz basically worked his way in the Best in the World tournament. You would have him break his leg, kind of, and Shane McMahon would come out and take over for The Miz. And then you would have Shane McMahon turn on The Miz at Fastlane to start their feud for WrestleMania. You would then get Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor and Lio Rush in a handicap match for the IC title. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. Lio Rush at the time, Bobby Lashley's heel manager, who everyone hated. Lio Rush is amazing what he's done on the independent scene. He's really worked on his character, and I really like what he's doing now. But at the time, he was just so annoying. And he had heat, but it was more go-away heat than anything. So, Finn Balor would pick up the win, and Bobby Lashley would lose the IC title to Finn Balor. Finn Balor would then lose the IC title back to Bobby Lashley later on Raw. And then you would have Finn Balor face Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania 35 to pick up the IC title. We then get a singles match for WWE Raw Women's Championship of Ronda Rousey defending against Ruby Riott. This was really in the moments of when you had Ruby Riott in her, Ronda Rousey in her amazing undefeated streak. She would actually come out dressed as a character from Mortal Kombat whose name escapes me right now. She's the girl in Mortal Kombat who always has double guns. I believe it's Sonya Blade is her name. I can't remember right now. It'll come to me later. She would do the new voice for her in the new Mortal Kombat games. I believe still does the voice for her. Ronda Rousey would pick up the win by submission in a 1-minute 40 match. So, we then get Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman in a no disqualification match. The reason this match is happening is Baron Corbin cost Braun Strowman his match at the Royal Rumble against Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. So he basically wanted to beat the shit out of Baron Corbin for that. Thought it was a good move. Baron Corbin went over because he would then go on to face Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, and you would have Braun Strowman go on to win the Andre Giant Battle Royal in a feud with Michael Chase and the guy who married Jennifer Lopez. Or not Jennifer Lopez, goddammit. What's his name? God, it's going to escape me now. He's on SNL. He still does the weekend update, so there's still a lot in my brain that I can't remember. Be careful of your brain, kids. When you lose that, you have no memory. So, Baron Corbin would pick up the win to go on to face Kurt Angle in Kurt Angle's retirement match at WrestleMania 35. And finally, we get the Elimination Chamber match for WWE Championship. Now, this was originally supposed to be Mustafa Ali's coming out match. It was supposed to be Mustafa Ali having an unbelievable match and probably going on to face Daniel Bryan for a WWE Championship. Plans weren't solid yet. But Mustafa Ali would get a bruised eye and would not be able to compete. So they would put Kofi Kingston in the Elimination Chamber match, and this just became Kofi Kingston's coming out party. You would have Samoa Joe be eliminated by AJ Styles first, Jeff Hardy get eliminated by Daniel Bryan, and then you just had Kofi Kingston wreck house, jumping off of pods, jumping off of the chamber, Trouble in Paradise. It was just, this was the beginning of what they called Kofi Mania. Kofi Kingston's basically first match for a WWE Championship in 11 years. He had never had a singles match for a WWE Championship. So this was amazing to see Kofi Kingston finally showing why he should have been a main event player so long ago. But because of backstage politics, it never ended up happening. Kofi Kingston would eliminate Randy Orton. Randy Orton would eliminate AJ Styles, so it would come down to Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan would finally lock in the Yes Lock, the Cabell Lock, whatever you want to call it. And Kofi Kingston would have to tap out, but it would lead to Kofi Kingston going on to WrestleMania after going after hurdle after hurdle after hurdle to finally get the WWE Championship he's been striving for so long for. Elimination Chamber 2019 is a fun pay-per-view to watch. The downers of this match were the Raw Women's Championship match and the Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman. This is when they were pushing Baron Corbin as a possible main event player. He would go on to feud with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So it was fun, but at the same time, it just didn't need to happen for Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin never should have been a main event player in my mind. He should have always been a higher mid-card guy, always challenging for the title. Sometimes winning the Intercontinental United States Championship, but never for the Universal Championship. And the Raw Women's Championship match, it was just too easy to predict that Ruby Riott was going to lose and that it was going to be a squash. It should have never been a squash, and I think if it wasn't a squash, Ruby Riott probably would have never left the company after 2020. My opinion. Whew. Let's move on to the Elimination Chamber this year. Coming from Perth, Australia, 4 matches have been announced. It looks like that's the kind of card they're going with right now. It'll be the Judgment Day versus the New Catch Republic. I see the Judgment Day picking up the win and going on to defend their titles in a ladder match at WrestleMania against a bunch of teams with R-Truth and The Miz winning, or a singles match between them and R-Truth and The Miz. So look for the Judgment Day to retain. We then get your Women's Elimination Chamber match, and as much as I want to say Liv Morgan is going to win this match against Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Raquel Rodriguez. I gotta go with Becky Lynch, but damn it, do I want it to be Liv Morgan. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. It's going to be Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's going to pick up the win, and then we'll go on to feud with Becky Lynch for WrestleMania. This is the match they've wanted to book. If it's not Becky Lynch, then it will be against Liv Morgan, but there's no way Nia Jax wins this match. As for the men's Elimination Chamber match, Drew McIntyre is going to pick up the win over Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul. But look for it to start a three-way feud for the WWE United States Championship at WrestleMania between LA Knight, Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens. Or maybe it'll start a feud for Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I would love to see that one. I think it's going to be a fun show, definitely, from Perth, Australia. I think it's time for a drink. How about a keg? A watermelon keg. So what you're going to need for this is one large watermelon, some lemons, some orange juice, melon liqueur, peach schnapps, rum, and rum. Dark rum and light rum, basically. So you're going to shave the bottom of the large watermelon off so it can stand, but not enough to where it causes a hole, just enough to where it can stand and it's not on a circle at the edge. You're going to cut off the top and remove the inside, but save the inside fruit. You're going to drill a hole near your bottom and insert a tap. Again, you want to be careful when you insert it, so that way not all the juices come pouring out. You're going to add the liqueur and the mixtures. You're going to serve through a tap after adding the fruit. Please drink responsibly. Do not drink and drive. Do not drink if you are under 21 in the United States, and do not overconsume on alcohol. And now we're reading from the Book of Rules. The Tornado Clause. For certain specialty matches, the Tag Team Championships can be defended with Tornado Tag rules. This stipulation allows for all members of both teams to be in the ring at all times without tagging. A reading from the Book of Rules. And now, everybody, it is time for the Battle Droid of the Week. The Battle Droid of the Week is the women's segment on Raw of all the women getting destroyed by Nia Jax. I understand trying to build up a challenger, and Nia Jax has been doing better than I've been giving her credit for a lot of weeks. But this just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever to have them completely destroy every woman in the Elimination Chamber match, because then it destroys all credibility for the WrestleMania women's match. I truly believe that this was a stupid move by WWE, and whoever booked this segment, you are the Battle Droid of the Week. Congratulations.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. I have been the big guy. This has been Wrestling Made Simple. I am so excited for Perth, Australia, for WWE Elimination Chamber. And after that, we build on the road to WrestleMania. We will have no more stops. It would just be Raw and SmackDowns. This is the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. My bags are packed. I'm ready for Philly, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. Let's get ready. April 4th, I will get to Philly. April 6th, WrestleMania inside the Link Eagle Stadium, Philadelphia, PA. Let's go. Thank you very much for listening. I have been the big guy. This has been Wrestling Made Simple. Enjoy Elimination Chamber. Have a great week in wrestling.